I've actually been following your artwork for, I want to say 6 to 7 years. So it's really cool for me to get you on because I've been following you since I was 13
How'd
years
you
old.
find out about him?
Honestly, probably either Instagram or A59. Somebody might have posted one of your shoes or something like that. Or I can't remember how long you've been doing all the UK players.
Probably, I think 2013, 14 is around when I started. Yeah, that's when I kind of got in with a lot of the UK guys, Willie and Tyler Eulis and the Harrison twins. That was around 2013, 14.
Yeah, so then probably just around, literally, it was probably one of the UK players might have even posted it, and then I just found him.
That's where it started, yeah. That's kind of what propelled a lot of my stuff is
all of them posting it.
those guys, yeah.
Right.
You know, and it was, you know, at the time I was doing, it's a hobby, you know.
Right,
just
on the side.
And actually, it's funny, a buddy of mine he used to work at Foot Locker, and I knew him from Foot Locker just from buying shoes, and he hit me. He's like, "Hey, can you restore a pair of Jordan 3s that he'd had?"
Right.
I was like, "I don't really fuck with Jordan, you know, or the restoration part of it.
Yeah.
Like, but I'll do it, you know, whatever." So I restored these, and he's like, "Bro, you need to start a page."
You did a good job.
Yeah, just to try to, you know, get you a little side hustle. And I'm like, all right, whatever, you know. And actually, I had done, like, this is probably before you all, but Nike Talk, which used to have message boards on there, and we get on there, and there was like, I had a couple guys from like New York that I would. They would send me Air Force Ones, and I would do like glue on fabric and shit on them. This is like in 2001.
So before it was even,
this is before paint, like all the paint that I use now. Like
it wasn't even a thing yet.
Yeah, I mean it would crack and it would look like shit. So I was gluing on printable fabric, like all kinds of different themes. But obviously it wasn't like crazy. I'd make $100 on a pair,
right?
You know, so it wasn't real crazy. But I dabbled a little bit into it and was always into it, and then. When I did the stuff for Jamie, he was like, "Start this little page." So I already had my name. It was True Blue on there back in the early 2000s. I was like, "Let's just roll with that." And then next thing you know, Willie Cauley-Stein hit me up, and Tyler Lewis hit me up. And
how did you get into meeting them though? Like what do you think brought them to even find you?
Honestly, Instagram. I mean, Instagram was it. They just, I guess, people started sharing the post,
right?
And you know, Willie hit me up, and of course, I grew up a UK fan,
right? So like, I'm sure you were ecstatic.
Yeah, like I'm almost 47 years old. So I mean, I grew up with like Kenny Walker and Ray Chapman. Those are my guys, and you know, being a UK fan, and these guys are messaging me, and I'm like, holy shit!
Wow, like this is
Willie
awesome.
Texting me, you know? And then me and him became really good friends, and I've done a bunch of stuff for him over the years.
I know he's like one of your most reposted things. Yeah.
Yeah, like I love Willie's a good dude, man. He's a little eccentric, you know, and he would come to my house, and him and my wife would sit and talk about freaking Star Wars.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like nerd shit. You know, they get into that shit, and it's awesome, man, because it's like. That's who he was.
No, exactly.
He loves basketball, but Willie was just a different dude.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had a pretty good relationship with him, and I still talk to him regularly. Like Alex Poitras, all those guys on that team that went 38-1. That was
by far my favorite team ever. Yeah. I'm so sad that we ended up losing that year.
Man. I was heartbroken, and it's like, you know, you get a little bit of a bond with some of these guys. You actually get to know them a little bit. And it hurt even worse being a UK.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure it's cool though, since you've been talking to these people for so long, to actually see them thrive in the league.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome.
They were in college when you started to talk to them, so now
because they were like our age when you first met them, and now they're whole grown ass men.
So.
Yeah, that's
like
awesome.
Willie's got a little girl, you know, and it's just like it's cool to see these guys turn into grown ass men now, you know, and it's almost like my kid, you know, like my son's almost 21, my daughter's almost 17. It's like, bro, like that's how old Willie was when I was fucking with him.
That's crazy.
Like, man, he was a kid. He could have been my kid, you know.
How did your kids feel like when you started getting these connections with people that were known? How did your kids feel, or how did they see it?
Actually, it's funny. My daughter really could give two shits.
Yeah,
she really did not
That's
care
just how
at all.
it is.
And I did a pair of shoes for Ariana Grande for when she came in. She was actually supposed
crazy.
to come to Rupp.
Yeah.
And then they canceled her tour. I think she had laryngitis or something.
How'd you get hooked up with that?
With Rupp Arena. So, see, Rupp Arena had, like, they do artist gifts.
Okay.
They used to. COVID hit and screwed everything up. But, like, I mean, we did shoes for Justin Timberlake, for Paul McCartney, Snoop Dogg.
That's
Snoop
crazy.
was dope just because growing up. Like,
I'm sure.
You know, I remember Murder Was the Case. I remember all the old Snoop stuff. You know, that's
awesome.
Like, his first album dropped when I had just graduated. You know, graduated high school in 94, man. It's like.
So you've been hearing about Snoop Dogg since you've been a kid.
Oh yeah, you know, and that was just like that was my shit.
No, exactly.
You know, like, so doing
cool,
that
though.
stuff for him, and you know, but when back to the story. My daughter,
Yeah.
you know, she loved Ariana Grande. She thought that was cool, but like my son, it's like I think they kind of get sick of it a little bit.
Right.
It's like in school, everybody thinks hey, hook me up.
Yeah. I'm sure that got annoying.
Leave me alone, bro. You know.
Yeah.
So, but it's it's pretty cool. It's like they're not really huge UK fans.
Right.
My son goes to UK. You know, he follows UK, but it was like
it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, it was funny. Like one day, Alex Poitras is at the house, and my son was probably 12 at the time.
To me, that would have been.
Right,
oh my gosh!
yeah.
If a UK player
funny
came to my
like
house,
Bryson's like sleeping on the couch, and it's like 6 o'clock. He just came from school. He's sleeping, and me and Alex were bullshitting. And Bryson out of nowhere just turns like, "Shut up! I'm trying to sleep." And Alex is like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
You know, and I'm like, "This dude's yelling at Alex Poitras, man."
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty cool. You know, it's 12-year-old me would have shit myself.
Oh yeah, 100%.
If Rex Chapman walked in, you know, and it's like, wow.
No, see, that's what I was saying. That's exactly how I would have been.
That's what's so cool about it to me, being a UK fan. But
yeah,
it all kind of goes now. It's like
it's been a thing, so it's
like it's cool, and it's like it is a business, and these guys want to be treated like it's a business.
Right, exactly.
You know, like a funny story with Willie. Like actually, that 38 in 1 year.
Yeah.
We did a pair of the Ferrari. You know, the Ferrari 14s.
The Ferrari 14s, yeah.
The Jordans, they were red. Well, he had an idea. Let's see if we can do some blue Ferraris. So
okay.
I'd never done anything with like suede dye and leather.
Suede's
dye,
hard to work with.
Yeah, so I dyed them blue. They were
right.
royal blue. So I went to deliver them before they went to the Final Four. So I pull up. Of course, he didn't get to wear them because they didn't make it to the championship game. But I pull up, and the entire there's a bus outside. They're loading all their stuff up to leave to go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And there's probably 200, 300 people just
really?
standing around the crash
trying to get autographs and stuff
I'm
like that.
Shit. So I call him. I'm like, hey, bro, how do you want me to get these? Because it's crazy out here.
Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to
I'll meet you around back. So he came out back, and me and him are sitting there talking. So everybody starts seeing him. My daughter's with me, and she's probably 8 at the time, and she wanted to get a picture with him because she'd met him 3 or 4 times. So I'm like, all right, we talked for a second, shot the shit, and then I was like, can she get a picture real quick? He goes, yeah, of course. So we get a picture, and as soon as everybody sees us do that, it was on. It was
they
like
were
The
running.
Walking Dead, dude. They walked over and they surrounded him, and we were pulling off, and I'm like,
oh my
sorry,
gosh.
bro. I'm like,
you got to shoot him a text after and be like, dude,
yeah, I did.
My
I was
bad.
like, man, I'm sorry, man. He's like, dude, don't worry about it. But it's like, he would always tell me too. He's like, man, when you're on that stage, as soon as you tell one person no, you're an asshole.
No,
and it's just like,
that's why when you get to that stage, you got to really think about how you interact with your fans, and especially the way that.
And it's hard, man, because these guys they're still kids, man.
Yeah,
they're still kids.
They're still learning how to deal with people in their face.
Yep.
Some of these college players, they literally came from towns that.
Oh yeah, because he came from Kansas, and it's like, I mean, some little small town. He played college or high school basketball, high school football. And then he comes here, and it's like you've got 25,000 people screaming at you every night, and everywhere you go. Yeah,
UK's fan base is not one to play with.
Dude's 7 foot tall. He can't sneak in anywhere. So it's like, that was a fun year. That was probably one of my favorite years. But
I mean, I think it was for everybody.
Oh yeah. And I grew up with the Patino years, and like those were fun years. I remember going downtown and on Woodland and Euclid and turning cars over and all kinds of crazy shit when we won the
burning the
championship.
couches and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. But it's, I'm old now, so I don't do that anymore.
Right.
But it is kind of cool when you see the students get to experience.
Oh
that,
yeah, 100%.
As long as they're not tearing shit up somebody else's stuff. It's
yeah. So back to what you were naming off some of the people that you've worked with. So you said Ariana Grande, Justin Timberlake, Paul McCartney. You said,
yeah. We did.
Who are some of the other ones?
Actually, one of the coolest ones I thought was I just did a pair of shoes for Kid Rock.
Really?
Probably actually 2 months ago, maybe he released a song, and Kid Rock's super conservative, and I don't give a fuck, and he had a song came out. I think it was like "Don't Tell Me How to Live."
Right.
So they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want to do something for this video." He has a verse where he talks about you can kiss the bottom of my sock or bottom of my shoe. And
did it have a kiss mark on the bottom?
No, I put a middle finger on the bottom of it. It's like his little trademark middle finger thing. So to see him wearing those in a video was dope.
Oh, that's
that was
super
that
cool.
was cool as
That's
shit.
super cool.
That's just like with Snoop Dogg. I'm sure that's so crazy to see.
Making something for your idol just got to be a different kind of feeling.
Yeah, it was cool. And it's like
100%.
I've listened to Kid Rock since when he was a rapper. You all have no idea.
I didn't even know. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Yodeling in the Valley. Go look that stuff up, man. He's got some dope shit from the 90s, man. Yeah. So, but and he had a box, he had a box haircut.
That's crazy.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah.
About a month or two ago, I did a pair for Spike Lee.
Oh, I saw that.
Dope, yeah.
Yeah,
He
and they were on courtside, right?
Quickly, yeah. Well, because Emmanuel Quickly hit me and he's like, "Hey, can we do He wanted to do like a tribute to Spike
to New York, right?
So I'm like, hey, "Of course, man. Let's do something dope." And when he wore them, Spike shared them on his page.
Yes, I saw this.
And then everybody started tagging me, and then Spike messaged me, and it was funny because it's like
I know that felt crazy.
Spike's an old dude, I mean, he's older than me, and it's like he messages me, he's like, "Hey, this is Spike Lee," and I'm just like, "No shit,
right?"
It's Spike Lee,
on Instagram.
Like, yeah, on Instagram, and he's like, "I got to have a pair of these. I'll pay," which is funny because a lot of those dudes don't want to pay,
right?
Yeah, they want shit for free, and I was like, that's dope. Spike Lee gets it. He's an artist. And growing up like Crooklyn and, Do the Right Thing and, She's Gotta Have It, like all those Spike Lee joints. That was my shit back in the day too.
Crazy.
So that was like, it was kind of surreal.
100%.
And I'm like, man, that is dope. Spike Lee reached out to me. It wasn't like I was hustling him trying to do something.
Right.
So that was pretty cool, man. That was
how did you get them to him? Do you just normally send them to people?
Yeah, I just shipped them to his brand office in New York.
Yeah, no. What I think about so cool about that is like a lot of people think if like stuff like that doesn't happen like in your late teens or your early 20s, then like it's never gonna happen. Stuff. And like you also you made all this stuff for your idol. Well, I don't want to say idols, but like
people I grew up.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And like.
It's pop culture for me, man.
People you've been looking up to.
And it's like you're still the same age as them and stuff. It's it's very impressive.
It's
very
cool. It's like
come full circle.
It is. It's I mean I quit my job I worked at Pepsi before I started doing this full time.
How long ago was that you started doing this full time?
I think I quit 2013, maybe 2014 is when I quit Pepsi. So, but of course, it's like it got to the point where I was so busy.
Right.
I was working 10 hours a day at Pepsi.
And then having to come home and work on shoes the whole night.
And working until 1 in the morning.
Right.
In that time, my kids were younger. My son was playing baseball every night,
and
every weekend.
Becomes
and
too much.
And it became so much, man. And my wife and I sat down and was like, look, it's getting a little out of control.
Right.
Do we want to do this?
I'm sure you were getting DMs out the wazoo.
Oh, yeah. And it was crazy. Like what's funny is like what got it started was when Willie, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I did a pair of Jordan 11 that were gold. They were all gold with a blue bottom.
I might have seen these.
And he wore them in the first round of the tournament.
Okay.
Dunked on some dude from Cincinnati that's nobody's found the dude since. I mean, he murdered him. And I woke up the next morning. I think it was a Thursday night. I woke up the next morning and I'd gone from like 2,000 followers to like 10,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's like my email was, I had to take my email off my page
because
it got crazy, And that was kind of like my little stepping stone.
Yeah.
And that's what got me into the MLB. Like Jerome Williams, which doesn't even play anymore. He was kind of like a journeyman in the major leagues.
Right.
He hit me up. He's like, hey, man, I saw, your shoes you did for
on
Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah.
I'd like to have some cleats. And at that time, really nobody was doing custom cleats much in baseball.
Well, MLB is a lot more strict on their uniform policy, I believe.
They've opened it up a lot more now, but they still try to micromanage it.
Right,
which I understand to a certain extent, but back then they didn't really, a lot of guys didn't rock custom cleats. It just really wasn't a thing. So
it's a lot more uniform.
So I started doing stuff for him, and then it trickled down. And one time I had like 7 or 8 guys on the Phillies.
Oh, wow.
And then now that's like probably the biggest part of my business is
the
season.
MLB?
Yeah.
Wow,
like right now
crazy.
it's like insane at my house every day just with baseball.
Yeah.
Which is cool because it pays the bills and I do get to do some shit for some cool guys. But, like baseball players.
Uh-huh.
I love baseball. So
is baseball your do you watch baseball the most out of everything?
I love basketball, but like I love baseball too.
Right. You're equal.
Yeah. When my son started playing, it kind of got me back into the game.
Right.
And then now, he's 21, almost 21 now. So he's kind of getting this relationship with baseball again. He's falling back in love with it. So that's
to watch it.
Yeah. So to me, that's like awesome. Me and him took a trip to Boston last year.
I saw that you posted.
He's a huge Red Sox fan. And Alex Verdugo was one of my guys that plays for the Red Sox. He got his tickets to the Yankee series, so me and Bryson flew up there, and that was dope just to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And,
I could be wrong, but did you have shoes on different players on opposing teams?
Oh yeah, all the time.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool.
And it's funny. Is like the Astros. The last time they won the World Series, or they were in the World Series, like maybe 5 years ago. I looked up and. Actually, Bryce, my son's high school coach, Eddie Brooks, calls me. He's like, "Are you watching the World Series?" And I'm like, it's on, but I'm not really paying attention.
Right.
It's like, I think Dallas Keuchel's wearing your cleats on the mound. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
holy shit. And I'd done the cleats like the year before, so
Oh,
I didn't
so
even
he
know.
rewore
And
'em.
like these dudes, they play so many games,
Yeah.
you can't watch them all. And I look up and I'm like, holy shit, he's
In the
rocking,
World
Yeah, he's
Series.
rocking my cleats in the World Series.
That's awesome.
And that was surreal, to see that. And then last year I had like 3 or 4 guys wearing them in
Yeah.
the World Series again. I'm like, this is pretty dope. It's like
hell yeah.
that they trust me enough to, they
Right.
like my shit enough to wear it in the World Series. So that was dope.
What's one of the most different pairs you'd say you'd have to make? Like, not specifically cleats or just anything in general. Like, what's the weirdest combo that you've ever had to do on a shoe?
Ooh, on
Like
a
for a
shoe.
different sport or something like that, you know?
Honestly, there's nothing's too crazy anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot of for Alex Verdugo. I do a ton of Mexican themed cleats. He's half Hispanic, half Mexican. So we do like a Day of the Dead cleats.
Oh, those
and
are probably
those are
super
always
sick.
dope. But yeah, like stuff like I love doing stuff that's a little like
Different.
that I can get a little crazy
Yeah.
on. And I've got guys like that just let me do my thing.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you had the whole off-white theme.
Oh, the off-white.
Yeah,
went
we've
there
done
you go.
that over and ad nauseum, man. It's like we've done so many of them, but
Yeah.
it's cool. The guys love it, and it's they had the Jordan 1 cleats that were out for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And those were like insanely hot. I couldn't tell you how many pairs of those I painted last year. So it's like I love doing crazy themes like that.
Yeah.
The guys that let me actually get
Actually
into
do
it,
your own thing and put your
Yeah.
style.
Yep.
Do you stamp every shoe that you do with your trademark?
I don't really do that. Some guys that do what I do that, but I've always kind of thought that was corny. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
Right.
It's like I don't want to throw my logo. Like
No,
I will do like on like some UK guy stuff. I've got a bootleg Nike logo that I
Yeah.
know, and it says,
Oh, where it's true
says
blue.
but
Yeah.
it looks like a Nike
Like
logo
on the heel tag?
Yeah, so I'll throw those on there. But like as far as putting my logo and name on there, I really never do that.
Right.
It's just kind of like my little pet peeve.
So
You know,
what
how-
was you can go.
And I was just saying, how many pairs of shoes do you think you do a week?
A week, man. Right now, I'm probably doing about 20 pairs of cleats a week.
Oh wow.
On top of normal orders.
So you're doing like over 120 pairs of shoes a month?
It probably sometimes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually
Especially
like
during
4 pairs
baseball
a day.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Jeez.
I did two already today.
Wow.
And then when I go home tonight, I'll probably do another 1 or 2.
So is that you're doing from start to finish? You're completing the shoe
Yeah.
that quick.
Yeah.
So wow.
But some, obviously some are more
lot easier than
intense.
others,
Yeah.
right?
Some I'll have 7, 8 hours, but I also have 5 or 6 pairs going at the same time.
Right.
Because you got dry times and.
Yeah.
I got a little home studio.
There's
so-
different factors that play
right,
into
yeah,
it.
Yeah, so and then everything's prep's different, and some cleats they're simple color changes.
Right.
Like these guys they can't get cleats in their team colors,
Or
So-
they wear like a size 15 or
right?
something.
Yeah, and they can't get something that they
Is
want
available.
that matches their colors or
Right.
whatever. So I'll do a lot of that stuff too, but. And sometimes I'll have 3 hours in a pair of cleats. Sometimes
Right.
I'll have 8 hours or 10 hours. It just depends on how
difficult
how
yeah.
detailed it has to get. But yeah, I mean, it's right now. Baseball season is nonstop. It's
Yeah, I'm
like
sure.
I can't breathe.
Especially, or I feel like cleats are really popular too because they're out there in the sun. Everybody is watching them.
yeah.
It's a lot longer.
Yeah.
Like in football, I feel like it's just a little bit harder
Yeah.
to see your
Yeah.
cleats.
Yeah, and
So,
they
like,
they usually wear them from one game. And I've got guys like Alex Verdugo, for instance. I think I did like 38 pairs for him last year.
Wow.
And he
That's
beats
nuts.
his to death.
Yeah, like holes in them and everything.
I mean, he rocks the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool getting to see my cleat. Like, oh shit, that actually held up.
Yeah.
He's rocking them, and it's something that you can, obviously, it's going to,
it's gonna wear after a
it's
while,
gonna wear
of course.
just like
yeah,
a
yeah.
regular cleat or shoe would. But yeah, man, they really put it to the test, man. They beat
Yeah.
them to death. But that's, it shows that the work holds up. And
Right.
It's like, hey, I can share a picture.
You got quality
Yeah,
work. You definitely
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Just by even looking at your Instagram page, your quality is
That's
so
what I try
crazy.
to do, man. It's like there's a lot of dudes that do what I do now.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago, it was not like it is
Right.
now. There was like Mosh was another. He's like probably the godfather of sneaker artists.
Sneaker design, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a friend of mine, and I've gotten to know him over the years. There's another guy named Brad Torf. It's Astro Torf.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good friend of mine. But now, man, there's like so many, which is good.
Right.
It's like a lot of. The problem with me and my mind is like a lot of dudes that they just cut corners. They're just trying to get.
They're just trying to
They're
get the dollar.
chasing clout, man.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and I hate it because it ruins it for the people that
When
really.
you being
Yeah.
like a pioneer to the business, like one of the people that really got it going. and
Exactly. I feel like
it is. It's kind of annoying to me, but it's like and I deal with it during baseball season a lot because I'll have there's other customizers that they don't care about the quality. Right. They don't even want to get paid. Yeah. They're just like, I want this dude to wear my cleats on the field, and I get that to a certain extent, but at the same time, I'm like, bro,
get you something that's gonna last.
Yeah, I'm like, and you can tell by looking at it, these guys can barely wear the shit for one game, and it looks like garbage.
Yeah. How have you ever had anybody come to you and be like, "Hey, I got a pair done by this guy," and they just were garbage, and then came to you and were satisfied?
Yeah, I've had a few over the years, but I don't really take in any. Like I've done it. I really don't like doing it, but taking pairs that are already
customized.
Yeah, customized or worn. I haven't done that. I haven't done it in years, but I have before. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, sorry, man. Right. I mean, it's a process. It's not like a lot of people think that all you do is.
It takes. I mean, like you said, it takes. You spend 8 hours on a pair. It's not just drawing on it.
I'll spend more time prepping a pair of cleats than I will painting them.
Really?
Just to be able, just so you can wear them, and they don't flake all to hell. And,
right, exactly.
And chip all to hell. So.
And just like we were saying a second ago when we were talking about you being a pioneer of the game, I feel like you've been around for so long though, where you don't even fall into the category of like that new. Like it's not new to you. You've been doing it before it was even popping. You know what I mean?
And I kind of hit it at a good time.
Right.
When that like pro athletes started wearing the stuff, like LeBron wore some pairs of Moshes.
Yeah.
That was kind of the first ones in the NBA, and then slowly starts trickling in. Yeah. And then of course, with that comes everybody who's a customizer,
everybody else. Yeah.
And it's it's great for the culture because it everybody asked me, what are you going to do in 10 years? I'm like, and this was 10 years ago. I'm like, bro, people love art, and people want
something like that will never. Yeah, something like that will never die.
Hell, I was painting my overalls back in the '90s.
Really?
Like Belle Biv DeVoe and shit. It's like people always want something customized
to be able to express themselves. We were actually talking about that in our last podcast.
And I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I mean, it goes like cars. I mean, everything. Everybody wants something that's their own
and different.
Yeah, and different. And it's
exactly
it's something that I love to be able to. And I've actually started doing like a little like some graffiti work. I did some stuff for UK.
Like on walls and stuff, like you actually do paints. Yeah, that's really cool. Like murals.
Yeah, I don't do as much. Like I'm not as good as some of these other like mural artists, but UK commissioned me to come and do. They've got like a big media room where like say you're a UK recruit, football recruit, you come in
talk,
and you wear your jersey. You put on a jersey, and it's all graffitied out, and they use that as a backdrop for a lot of their pictures now.
Yeah,
so that's pretty dope. Like we see Will Levis standing there, and he's all of his game day gear, and you got all the graffiti in the background.
That's cool. That's
something I'm starting to do a little bit more of. But hell, I'll paint anything, man.
Yeah. So, if you could pick one thing that you're not into yet, what would that be? Like, what would be something that you want to do before you stop, like, being an artist?
I've been saying this for 10 years, too, is get into the recon, like reconstruction, like breaking down shoes and building my own shoes. And I've got the machines, the sewing machines to do it. It's just... I need time is the thing,
Do you mean customized shoe as in, like, for instance, a Jordan 1 would still be a Jordan 1, or you're talking about making your own shoe?
Yeah, eventually I would like to make my own shoe, but you've got to have an insane following to be able to do that and make
100%.
Like Mosh, for instance, he's got his own brand. He's got his own shoe now. And I bought a couple pairs, and they're amazing comfort. But he's also got 500,000 followers on Instagram and Twitter. It's easier for him to sustain something like that.
Exactly. Whereas when you're smaller, it's hard to. He was already bigger and then started it to whereas when you try to start something small and then grow it, it's a little harder. You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, I want to get into more to recon stuff and just rebuilding Jordan 1s, Nike Dunks, stuff like that. So
one thing that I think is crazy that I sort of would like to talk to you about when you don't wear a shoe for a while. I know you've seen people where they'll take their thumb and they'll just like do that. That's crazy, man. I did not know shoes did that, or I've known this for a while now, but before you have to actually wear your shoes.
Oh yeah. Like, if you don't, the midsoles will dry out, and I know people always trip on that. Like, you wear the shoes to keep. I mean, it keeps them. I mean, I don't know exactly what it does, but it keeps them, soft. It keeps the midsoles. You get them fresh air.
I think it's I was gonna say I think it's the air. Like, I believe it doesn't do that though. Have you seen they do this at a lot of like really popular shoe stores. They'll wrap them. They'll do the vac wrap or whatever. Yeah, that way I think is how you conserve it. But I didn't know that until a few years ago, and it made me want to start wearing some of my shoes for sure.
I know I used to be bad about collecting, and it would set, and and I'd never wear it. And now it's just like I don't even care.
Even some shoes they turn yellow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the wave now. It's like the age shoes. People love that, man. I don't know how many pairs of Dunks I've done over the
Made
last
them look
probably
aged.
yeah. I actually did a pair for Lil Wayne.
Really?
Yeah,
Damn.
That's crazy.
Kentucky Dunks. We did those. It was a gift from Cal, and Cal sent it to him.
That's awesome. Lil
They
Wayne.
were pretty dope, man. They were, and I scuffed them all to hell, aged them, and
That's really
like
sick.
back in '85 when the Dunks, like UK actually had player exclusive Dunks, and they said cats on the back.
Oh, that's sick.
And you couldn't get them from, you couldn't just sell it. You couldn't buy them. They had a separate tongue tag on them. They had a Wildcat on it.
Yeah.
So I've got a guy that makes the tag. So I replace the tag, resew it on.
So it's
put the cats on
completely customized.
Yeah.
Like it's completely.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So because they just released the Nike Dunk High last year.
The blue and white one.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep. So when it dropped, everybody started doing it. And,
Right.
you age the midsoles to give it the yellow look, and we did those and sent them to Wayne. So
That's really sick.
I haven't seen, he hadn't worn them or anything that I saw yet, but I keep my eye open.
What's been one of your favorite reactions, like from somebody that you've given a shoe to, and they just like go crazy?
What's funny is like, it's probably my favorite ones are kids.
Oh, really?
I love doing stuff for kids, and that's like, I usually get reaction videos for almost every kid I do shoes for, and it's amazing just seeing like cleats, like they're all freaking out and they open them up and
They're like going
They
crazy.
start screaming and running around. It's like those are the best.
Yeah.
And and I always say this, and people think that I'm just full of shit, but I really probably rather do stuff for a 10-year-old or 12-year-old kid because he appreciates it.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to a dude that's making $8 million a year.
Right. He's just wearing the shoe to.
Right. And these kids are like, holy shit, this is a Batman or this is a Superman pair.
Right. Exactly.
Rick and Morty, whatever it is, and that's probably my favorite is just seeing the reaction of the kids. Man.
I feel like as a kid though, you can care about that stuff a lot more though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
because
like
that's your world at that point.
No, Superman is my idol, at that age. But
I've did one pair for a guy, a buddy of mine's son actually. In the video, he like opens it up and then he just shuts it and takes off running.
That's
runs
funny.
through the house screaming for his sister, then comes back out and it's like, oh my god,
That's awesome.
That was dope. That's just, it puts a smile on my face.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm sure. And this goes with everything. Like when you see your work showcased on basketball courts, fields, everything, when you give it to these kids, I'm sure it always just feels great.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm sure you've been doing it for so long. It's not.
It gets a little numb at some point, just seeing it over.
Right.
But it is cool when you see, like Kayla.
When somebody really appreciates
Kayla
it.
Kowalik, she's a catcher for UK, stud catcher. And I did a UK had me do a helmet for her and tie in a bunch of stuff. Like she's from Texas. Like she batted like 400 for the year last. Yeah, she's insane, and it's a sick ass catcher's helmet.
Yeah,
and every broadcast the SEC network talks about.
They always talk about it.
It's cool, man. And then they break it down on the side. They don't ever mention me, which I don't care. It's just they break down all the aspects of the helmet. I'm like, that is so dope that I did that shit, and they're talking.
They're talking about it.
That'll never get old to me. It's still, my wife makes fun of me because I'll sit there and rewind it, and I'm like, oh,
heck
I gotta get a video
I
of
would
this,
too, for sure,
cool,
for sure. You're
like,
seeing your artwork.
Yeah,
I mean,
getting to see it out there, and
I mean, that's one of the whole points you do it.
Yeah.
I feel like one thing with artwork, especially when you're at the level you're at where you can do it so efficiently, it's just like, it really is cool to just see yourself, how far you've grown yourself. You know what I mean?
I know. I look back at some stuff I did like 10 years ago, and I'm just like, oh my God.
10 years ago, though, it wasn't even the same. Like you said, though, the paints
totally
and
different.
stuff like that.
Totally different. Yeah.
How has the shoe game changed? Like just even your materials that you can work with.
It's changed a lot. Like, of course, you got Air Force Ones, Dunks.
Right.
A lot of the older, like retro Jordans, are all leather. Those are easy to work with, But now you're starting to get into fly knits and
the Yeezys, stuff like
Yeezy,
that.
like anything synthetic. So it's a different process. It's a different prep process, different additives. But yeah, it's a little different. But I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's still just airbrush and art, So I mean, it's. I don't know. Like I hate doing some styles.
Right. I feel like it's just harder.
It is.
It just makes it.
It's hard to get like, especially somebody's like, I got a Yeezy.
Yeah.
And you know how Yeezys are. They're like that real thick knit.
Yeah.
And you can't really get real detail.
It's hard to
And it's like I want an Air Force One, all white Air Force One, all day long, every day. Because I can get down on that.
It's a lot easier to paint on leather.
Canvas.
Yeah, it is. It's like, and some people don't realize that. It's like when you're painting. I mean, I'm painting on a shoe that has contours, edges, and it's like, I mean, it's a price. It's not like I'm painting on a hood of a car,
right? Exactly where it's.
So it
is
is
this big.
You got to kind of watch how things flow, and like one of my things is doing, like, I hate doing mock-ups because I'm terrible on Procreate. I'm terrible on Photoshop.
It's always harder just to even make it visual on.
It is, because it's like I've got some guys, like major league guys, that insist on it. They're like, this is what I want to. I'm like, I'll do it, but it's probably not going to look just like that. Because when I get done with it, as it goes, my head turns like, okay, that looks like shit. That looks like shit. I like this. I like that. So it'll change as it goes. So
artist tips are we've talked about this before. Yeah. Artist tips are always important because, and it's like we've talked about this before. Like I said, even with tattoo artists, it's like you go to this guy, even if you're asking for this specific artwork, they're going to put their spin on it. You're asking for their artwork specifically. So it's
I know I hate being pigeonholed and saying,
exactly,
I want this exactly like this. And some stuff, it's like, if you're just changing colors, I mean, that's no big deal. But like when you're wanting artwork, it's like,
this little detail is not.
And I'm to the point now where I can turn stuff away that I don't want to do, because you don't want. I promise you don't want me doing something for
that you don't want to do.
No, exactly. If you want me to paint whatever, if I'm not feeling it, I'm doing a disservice to you, because I want you to be happy, because I mean, it's not cheap. I mean, you're trusting me with a $200, maybe a $500 pair of shoes.
No, exactly.
And then whatever I charge on top of that,
just for the work.
Yeah, for the work. And then if you're not happy with it, we're back to square one.
Does the work tend to be double the shoe?
What do you mean?
Like, how much does it cost? Like, obviously it varies between what you do, obviously. But.
Usually it's about double. Like on an Air Force One, I charge anywhere from $350 to $400 total. That's including the shoe.
And they send the shoe to you first.
Well, that's me. I can get I'll get Air Force Ones for people, but like if you've got a Jordan or something that I can't just readily go get, I'm not going to spend hours searching for your size and
that just makes it way more difficult.
It is, and it's like it's not worth my time to. I mean, I do have some clients that. That I will do.
Are exceptions, of course, yeah.
And it's like I'll spend hours like searching the internet, and right now is insane because you can't get anything. Shipping sucks.
Yes.
Nobody has anything in stock, so it's like if it's not an Air Force One or something easy to get, you're gonna get it.
I feel like obviously you have everybody reselling stuff always, of course.
And
but I feel like everybody is starting to hold on to their physical items. Like as the world is starting to become more digital, I feel like something like shoes. Like for instance, I collect shoes as well. I feel like I hold them because, I don't know, I've always collected shoes off and on, but like, to me, collecting shoes, or like I said, not only shoes though, anything physical, you just have it, and something on the phone is not as...
I know, like, I'm still not, I mean, I'm older, I'm not into the NFT wave yet, like, I get it, and I understand it. Like, I'm into the crypto stuff.
Right.
But it's like I can wrap my head around it.
It'll never be as good as something physical.
I can't wrap my head around an NFT. I mean, I don't care. It's on my phone. Big fucking deal. I don't care.
Right.
It's like it's a picture of a monkey or
a
spaceship or whatever it is. It's like I'm not paying $750,000 for a digital image.
And not only that, I feel like when you get older, so for instance, I feel like for younger people or somebody my age, it's different, because that would be like you trying to get into stocks when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
So I bet when you were a kid, stocks were like, whoa.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell? Yeah.
Like I want to be I want to be on
when
top
you guys
of the wave.
are 40 and 50 years old, there's no telling what
No, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to retire in 15 years.
No, you're not even worried about what these kids are on the line talking about.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't care, But
no, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I used to be real bad about collecting shoes, and this last year I kind of started liquidating some stuff and trying to make room, because it's just buying shit. I mean, $200 a pop, or more, just sitting in a little blue box
crazy.
on my shelf.
It's crazy though. The shoe market sometimes. I mean, when shoes are dropping, they're immediately $600.
You can't get it. Yeah, and it's
and you can't get it,
and you almost have to know somebody, and it's like, it's kind of taking the fun out of it for me.
Yeah,
like growing up, like.
You actually had to go and
like even like in the early 2000s, man, we would go camp out, and you can't do that anymore because people
they're selling them out the back and stuff too.
People shops backdoor stuff. And then you got idiots that are just I mean, how you've seen video after video after video of dumbasses, man. I mean, you go buy, killing somebody over some shoes. I mean, they did that shit back when.
Right.
I mean, I remember Sports Illustrated like making all these, stories, like pretty much blaming Michael Jordan because kids.
Really?
I'm like, come on, man.
Oh, actually, I have seen that where they were. He was blaming. They were blaming him for all the violence at the.
I'm like, come on, man.
That's crazy. You can't pin that on somebody.
It's the whole shoe culture has kind of changed, and it's like I hate it because I loved it growing up, and I always have loved sneakers, and it's kind of like growing up, that was my thing. It was always all my teachers knew, like, oh, Billy's always got the new whatever,
new Jordans,
Air Revolution,
new
Air Max, Air Jordan, Nike Dunks, and I shared that with my son, and me and him, we camped out a couple times, and he got him into shoes, and now it's just like, it's not the same because it's.
I feel like it's also because nowadays people don't care as much about the kids. Like,
oh no,
when it comes to shoes specifically, like when I was a kid, dude, I was camping out, and even this is not as long as ago when you were a kid, you know, it's very different now. But like when you have somebody going up there and buying all 8 shoes that the store has, it makes it no fun for the people that have been waiting for 3 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get it. Capitalism.
Right.
People are going to make money, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to knock somebody's hustle, but it does kind of piss me off when you look up and you see some dudes buys 12 pairs of some general release Jordan just to make $20 a pop on each one. I'm like, bro, get a job, man.
No, exactly.
I don't have the time to make $20 on it, you know.
And people do the same thing. Like, I know y'all saw the craziness at Target, or maybe not you, but you've probably seen the craziness at Target about basketball cards and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
I mean, people are literally fighting over
Walmart, Target. They come in there and these like grown ass men like stalking the little workers walking around trying to find where they're going to stock the cards.
It's different if you're a kid doing that because you're excited, but like when you're 30, you're supposed to be at work or something, and you're worried about these Pokemon cards. It's like, come on, dude.
I know, man. And they eat the shit up, man. But it's like if there's a market for it.
Right.
I get it, you know. Same thing with bourbon. Bourbon's the same way, man.
Oh, yes. The bourbon trade. But, okay. Alcohol, I feel like, is a little different, though, because that is...
it's a grown man's...
A grown man's
sport.
luxury.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. So, I feel like that's a little different because that's where you would have the grown man.
Right.
To whereas Pokemon cards, it's like, dude, you're 40.
Yeah.
Why are you... Hey, it's cool that, like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm into cards. So, the people that have been in it for 20 years...
Right. It's
different because yours is shoes.
My son still plays damn Pokemon Go and shit sometimes. When he's on campus, I'm like, he's like, yeah, I mean, he still loves that shit because he grew up with it, you know? And just like you all probably did too.
Yeah,
like,
no, Pokemon Go was fun. I don't play anymore, but
so
it was fun.
We might make fun of him. He's like, I don't give a shit. Whatever. I like it. I think it's cool. But yeah, he likes the cards and all that shit too still. And it's something that's part of your all's youth, you know?
Yeah,
just like,
for sure.
Just like an Air Jordan 1 reminds me of middle school and high school for me. And you know it's all just kind of comes full. So it's just funny seeing like the Jordan 1,
right?
You know,
and they all came back in style. Like for a while they were all gone, not gone, but like it was the Jordan 11, the Jordan.
And now the one wave is hit, and you can't buy. I mean, every one
is $300 or $400.
Yep.
Literally every single one of them. Yep.
And you can buy them and say, I mean, it's probably one of the best investments you can make.
Oh yeah,
you know, and I get it, man. There's guys that make a shit ton of money reselling shoes.
Yes, I mean,
hey, and I get it, man. Hustle, get your money, man. But
there's people that have collection. I mean, the same thing with any hobby. You know, people start collecting after a while, but like after a while, they start to. It's not a hobby. You know what I'm saying? That they have $50,000 worth of shoes that they just sell 3 a month, and that's their income. You know what I mean, or something like that. But I have a question though. If you could do it, would you? Like if you could, obviously you have your own thing, but say you were working a job and then you could.
If I had access to it, it is a lot of work, man.
It is a lot of work.
You know, it's not even just the work part of it. It's like you got to build relationships with these places, you know, with shops
and the people.
And the people, and you know, like I miss the days of going to Foot Locker, and like my boy Wayne, rest in peace. He died almost 4 years ago now. 3 years ago, and he was my homie at Foot Locker, man, and that's how I met him, and we were like best friends. And it's like I used to I miss going in there and
seeing him,
just bullshitting and saying, "Hey, what's up, Wayne?" and seeing all the new releases, and it's like I don't know, a lot of it's kind of just it's not fun to me anymore, you know.
I feel like the mall. The
mall
is not a place
I feel like
to
a
go
lot
to.
of it's been digitalized in the point where it's dropping. When you said you would just go in there and be like, "What's on the shelf today?"
Right. Yep. Exactly.
So,
you can't even do that no more because they're all gone within 30 minutes.
Yep. And then right now, like, I mean, nobody gets anything right now. I mean, with the supply chain garbage, and I mean, I went to Dick's the other day to find out this is how crazy it is. I've got Major League Baseball guys that can't even get cleats.
Really?
And these dudes are like, some of them have Nike contracts.
They're literally the biggest athletes.
And they're like, well, we can't get it. So can you find something? So I went to Dick's the other day to try to find a pair of Nike cleats, and he didn't care if it was a Trout or
he didn't care what it was.
They had 0 Nike cleats on the wall. They had like 3 Adidas and 3 Under Armour, and I'm like, this is Dick's Sporting Goods, and this is baseball season starting right now.
And I'm sure, was he sponsored by Nike, so he couldn't wear anything else?
So he couldn't wear anything
else. That's crazy.
So, you can't even send him something. That's crazy.
That's wild.
it's insane right
What
now.
does he do though? If they can't find Nikes,
they've got
backups.
Yeah, they've got. I mean, hell, I bet they travel with probably 10 pairs of cleats.
But they don't want to wear the ones that are just like given to them.
Yeah, and it's just like
exactly.
if he's wanting me to customize something and he needs it for a certain game, and if I can, I'll go pick it up for you. But right now, man, it's like pissing in the wind. There's nothing out there.
So we'll go back on the topic of like some of the people that you've worked with. So what are some of the biggest athletes and then biggest artists? Because every time we ask you, it's like Lil Wayne and then Ariana Grande.
Lil Wayne, Ariana Grande.
These are very, very big artists.
It's funny because I always I'll forget.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so many
shit.
at this
point. I did forget that I did Lil Wayne's. I was like, oh shit, those are dope.
And then
Drake.
Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, I've done Drake.
Drake.
But these are like the Drake one was a gift from Cal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, even if it's not like Drake texting you, it's
still
you're
still making something that's given to them.
And it's just all from here too.
It was cool because what had happened, I'd done a pair for Cal. It was actually the second pair. First pair I did.
You in pretty close with him?
Am I what?
You said in close with him? Or does he just have somebody else reach out to you?
I don't talk to him. When I go there, I'll talk to him. I mean, he's a good dude. He's just 110 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
Like one day, like one day he's like, "Hey, how you doing, Billy?" And the next day it's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Right.
But I mean, that's how people like that are.
Yeah, they're moving literally 24 hours a day.
So I did a pair back. This is back when Brad was in high school.
High school,
I think. Yeah. And as when Cal got inducted to the Hall of Fame, and Brad hit me. He's like, "Hey, I want to do a special gift for my dad." So I did that.
That's
for
cool.
Cal. That was the first pair, and I'm like, "Man, that's dope." Kentucky's head coach. Blah blah blah.
Of course, that's really full circle, though. I mean, imagine doing the whole team, and then eventually the coach asks you to.
And then like probably 2 years later, or a year later, I did a pair for Cal to wear at Madness that year.
Oh, March
and
Madness?
it had Big Blue Madness.
Oh, Big Blue. Yeah.
He wore it that night, but it had the names of all the players that he had drafted. So it had all those all over it. And
you almost need 3 shoes for that.
Yeah, and they were everywhere. And he said, which was Joel Justice at the time.
Yeah.
Told him, he's like, tell him do not make another pair. This is, I want the only pair of these.
Yeah.
Right.
And then a week later, Joel hits me. He's like, hey, Cal wants you to make another pair for Drake.
Of the same one?
Yeah, so I made the exact same pair for Drake and put the OVO owl on the side. Oh. It was for his birthday, so then he sent them to him. So
you gave Drake a birthday gift.
Yeah, that was pretty
That's
dope.
really sick.
So that was cool.
Well, okay, so now that leaves us with Ariana Grande, Drake,
Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg,
Kid Rock. So who are some of the other ones?
Dude, I can't, honestly.
Spike Lee.
Yeah, Spike Lee. I mean, athletes, shit.
So many.
It is. I mean, all my baseball guys. I mean, I've done a shit ton of baseball guys, but you all may not. A lot of people may not know the baseball guys.
I'm mainly into basketball. That's my main sport, but I dabble in football and baseball.
Yeah, who's some of the bigger NBA names besides the UK players?
Really, only other ones I've done like Markelle Fultz, which he played at Washington, and he played for the Sixers, and now he's in Orlando.
Yeah.
I've done a bunch of stuff for him, but mainly just him and like a lot of the UK guys. Those kind of my basketball guys.
But see, the crazy thing is, and dude, I love rubbing this in all the other fans' faces. You've got a UK player on every team, so you can root for anybody you want.
Oh yeah.
I mean, UK is by far the best fan base and best basketball team ever. I don't even care. Like I love arguing with people about that.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Especially Duke fans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it, dude. And it's also funny. I like pulling people's legs.
It is, man.
It's
sports. And that's what sports are for, man. It's,
right.
The rivalry. Too. Yeah. And like with KP, Kenny Payne going to Louisville, it's kind of got that rivalry going again.
Oh
and
yeah, for sure.
That's going to be fun. And one of my best friends is a big Louisville guy, and we always give each other shit. He hadn't really been able to say anything the last couple of years. As soon as KP got hired, he's like, "Oh yeah," he started talking shit. I'm like, "Hold on now, homie. Right. He ain't won a game yet."
Right. Hey, and remember where he came from, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
He started at Louisville though. He played. At Louisville.
Did he really?
Yeah, he played at Louisville, and then got on staff.
So he was. Why did they take him back? He was trading on him. That's funny.
Yeah. So it's cool, man. Getting to see a lot of the inner workings, a lot of that stuff. It's cool getting to meet some of these dudes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It's very cool.
Even
a lot of people they don't ever have the opportunity to even understand how they move and how they work. How they operate.
Everybody thinks it's like great and fun, and it is, but man, it is tough dealing with some of these because you don't really deal with the
you're dealing with two
athlete.
people between them.
Yeah, you're dealing with like I got a lot of agents that I deal with. Which I've got one agent that is at one of my main agencies, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
They rock with me. They've been rocking with me for like 6 years now.
That's good making those relationships.
Yeah,
though,
so
of
it's
course.
like I take care of them, they take care of me, and he's kind of like the go-between. Like Albert Pujols is one of my guys. And
Really,
he's with
that's cool.
yeah.
I've been watching Albert Pujols since
I
was.
know, and it's funny. Like back when he was with the Cardinals.
Yeah, he's back now, isn't he?
Yeah. When he was with the Cardinals, the first part of his career, I wasn't a big Pujols fan. I was just like kind of cocky, whatever,
Right.
And then he went to L.A. or he went to
Angels,
and then he went to L.A. And then he's got a pair of cleats. His model, they don't even make anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess every year Nike makes X amount of his cleat,
Right.
and nobody else wears them because he's
the
older.
only one that
and
makes
his
them,
feet,
or wears them.
it hurts his feet wearing other models. So they sent me a bunch of them because all they had was a bunch of Angels
Right.
and Cardinals colors. So I did a bunch of them last year for him, like blue and red for the Dodgers.
That's actually
and
cool.
I got to talk to him a little bit through social media, back and forth, me and
Right.
him messaging, and he's like one of the most humble dudes ever.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just like, man, that's so cool because this dude's probably one of the greatest baseball players of
Ever.
all time.
Yeah.
And he's like so humble, and it's pretty dope. I'm looking forward to doing some more shit for him this year because this may be his swan song. Back in
his
he may
retirement
be
year.
done, but yeah, he's a really good dude, and that was cool. He's probably the biggest baseball name I've done something for.
I mean, I've probably said it once already on the podcast, but I mean, I'm sure it just feels so good talking to these people because, like you said, because you said you've been doing this for since 13, so like 8 years, 8-9 years. So, and in your 30s, you still weren't even like you never thought. I'm sure you never thought you'd have the opportunity to talk to all these people, and
and you get to meet because they are kind of larger than life too. When you.
When you've never seen it.
To the average person, a lot of these guys are larger than life, and I try not to get tied up into that because
you are also doing work with them.
I want to be professional, and I don't want to be a fanboy, and I do sometimes get like, oh shit,
right? I'm working,
I mean, definitely, I mean, you deserve that,
bro. I was at
100%. By the way, you do deserve that because
we were at a UK game, my wife and I. And I remember we were in line at getting freaking ice cream.
Yeah.
And my DM comes through, and it's like, "Hi, this is Spike Lee." And I looked at my wife, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Spike Lee just DM'd me on
Spike Lee
Instagram.
just DM'd me about some shoes, man. I was like, "This is fucking dope, man."
That's awesome.
And I'm like, that'll never get.
And
I
it
don't
feels
care
so
how-
much better because it's your work. Like they're literally asking for you. That's one. I'm sure that's one of the greatest feelings.
It is, man. It's like it's very rewarding, to see people actually give a shit and like your art.
Exactly.
Because it's more than just painted
It's different.
shoes.
It's different than if you were selling somebody else's product too. Like even just as a salesman that was good or something. They're asking for your specific work.
Yeah, and that's why I like all my stuff on my Instagram. I try to make it there's a lot of dudes that do like. You'll look at their page and one post they're smoking a joint, the next post they're bitching about their baby mama, then they're talking about shoes. And it's like I want you to look at my page and be like, this dude's professional,
right? Exactly.
Because I'm trusting.
You mean business?
You're trusting me.
Hundreds
you're
of dollars.
sending me. Yeah, I mean, I've painted just Dons before. I mean, $1,000 shoes,
right?
$1,500 shoes, Louis Vuittons. I've painted those before.
Wow.
And it's just like these dudes are trusting me with $2,000-$3,000 shoes.
No, you've got to have.
I want you to feel safe and comfortable with it, and then that's how I feed my family, and that's what I tell people. It's not like I'm not 22 years old painting shoes in my mom's basement.
Right.
Like
you need this. This
I'm
is literally
shoes
what you
in
eat
my
off
basement.
of.
But it's like
right.
It's what pays my bills. It pays my car payment, my house payment, my all my bills. My kids go to school, so it's kind of like it's my business. It's not a hobby anymore. So
we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but I do want to touch back on it. What was the transition like from it being just a hobby, and obviously there's other things that play a role in this, but like even just your workspace, like how is that? How did that impact your household?
We've moved since my first studio, and it was probably a 15 by 10 room. Hell, probably wasn't even that. It may have been a 10 by 10.
I'm sure
room.
it was the whole room.
It was, and it was so small. And we moved to another house, and it's a much bigger room now. It's probably about a 20 by 15,
which is a lot
and
more
it's
space.
Still full, but it's turned. It's my space. It's
right.
Where, I mean,
it's
I
your
spend,
workspace.
And it's right at the back. My back wall backs up to my bedroom, so it's like the basement is. I got to walk past the couch. That's the hardest part of my work day is walking past the couch. And it's like
that's awesome though, that you can just do everything at home.
Yeah, and it is It is. I saw you talking about that on one of the previous episodes with the grills guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's talking about doing it in his kitchen. It's like, I feel that, man, because
your workspace is your home.
You know, and I've had people all over the years say, hey, let me go in and let's get a shop.
Right.
And you can work in the shop. And I'm like, man,
how would you feel about that?
I don't think I would ever get any work done, to be honest with you.
Really?
Because it's like nonstop people come. Like, I have a hard time during the day as it is because my phone goes off.
Have you ever trying to paint a pair of shoes and you got Spike Lee texting you?
Right.
Yeah, like what the hell, bro?
Or I mean, even me, you got the kid from Area 51 podcast trying to talk to you. I do appreciate you coming out there,
You're fine, man. I appreciate you guys reaching out. But yeah, it's tough to try to juggle all of it, but at least with it in my house, I don't have any overhead, obviously.
Right.
I mean, that's $1,000 a month that I don't have to shell out for a studio. Right. And you know, it's my shit. I'll work for like my wife, you know, she gets aggravated sometimes because I do spend a lot of time. I mean, that's like
I mean, it's your job, though.
You know, and it's like, but I try to every night I'll get done and we'll watch TV, hang out, me and her hang
spend
out.
your time together.
Yeah, and then, you know, like me and my dad are building a little hot rod that we've been working on.
I did see that. That's really neat.
And that was our COVID project. My dad's an old hot rodder, and you know, I used to be into low riders, and we'd always been into cars, and that's actually what I got that's where I learned to paint and all that was.
Oh, it was from cars. Yeah, that's really neat.
That I kind of transitioned my skills over to that, but me and my dad have been talking about building a car for 20 years. And
you finally get to do it. I'm sure
when COVID hit, and you know, my dad's retired, and you know, he's older. He's in his 70s now, and you know, I called him. It was right when COVID hit. I was like, "Hey, you want to build a car?" And he's like,
"Hell yeah!"
What the hell are you talking about? What do you want to do? And I'm like, "Let's build this T-Bucket we've been talking about, a little T-Bucket Roadster." And he's like, "Let's do it." I was like, "I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
you just bring your ass up here and work, man." And it's like, it's been awesome because it's made him young again.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's really cool to see.
And it's pretty cool because, you know, growing up, it's like that's all my dad ever. He's always wrenching on a car.
I want to fix this car. Yeah.
So this has kind of been me and his little COVID project. But I try to make for my mental health.
Oh yeah,
I try to take it like a day or two a week.
You have to though.
I have weeks obviously where it's like balls to the wall.
Yeah.
70 hours a week.
Oh,
but
wow.
man, it's like. You got to, man. COVID changed me, man.
For your own business, though,
and you got to take care of yourself, man. Because if you don't, and nobody else is going to.
No, exactly.
And you know, I saw I don't want to say my quality of work, but my creativity suffers.
Because you're just sitting there going through the motions.
Yeah, because it is a grind, man. It's like it's so funny. It's like people were like when I first started doing it. You know, you always see the memes like. People like at family functions, like, "Oh, how's your little shoe business?"
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and it's like that's for real, man.
Like that's how I feed my family.
Yeah, you know, and it's like I'd go to family functions, and you know, even friends, you know, like, "Oh, how you still painting shoes?" And I'm like,
"That's what I've been doing."
It's more than just painting shoes, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. You know, it's like it's funny when people ask me what I do for a living. I'm always just like, "Oh God."
See, to me, it might be a little different though for you, like. Because nowadays I feel like it's so much easier for somebody to go up to somebody and be like, "Oh yeah, I paint shoes."
Yeah, it's more acceptable now than it was 10 years ago.
No, exactly. Or maybe not even 10 years ago. Like people that are your age and like my parents' age and stuff, if they would have told their parents that that's what they were doing, like maybe 30 years ago.
My mom it's funny. My mom is. She laughs about it because she used to get on me, and my brother too. Used to get on me all the time about shoes. Quit wasting money on shoes,
right?
You know, would wear me out. And she's like, "It's so funny to see it come full circle."
Literally, yeah.
And my brother is a video game developer.
Oh, that's
and
really
so all he did was play video games growing up. And she was just like, "That's all you're gonna do. You're fry your brain playing." And now he's like, he created. Awesome. Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Did he really?
Yeah, so like
that's super cool.
Yeah, he's doing awesome shit with that. But it's so funny. My mom's like, the two things that was me and my brother's vice when we were growing up. That's all we did. You know,
turned into your career.
Yeah, it turned into a career. So
that's super neat.
My mom laughs about that. But
we were touching on this just a second ago. I know you said you probably didn't want to do a shop, but would you ever? I saw that you posted. You said you were trying to have sort of like an apprentice.
Yeah, I've been toying with that for about the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
my son helps me some when he needs money.
Right.
Obviously, then I pay him, to prep shoes. Which my mom or my wife, she does it some if I need her to. My daughter can if I need her to. But they hate working for me because I'm a dick. It's like I'm so picky and particular about, like the prep work is what I'm having them do.
When you have a $2,000 shoe that you're going to get to somebody, it needs to be.
The taping and the prepping. But my son's done enough of it now. Like he just lets it go in one ear and out the other.
Right, to where he understands.
So he'll come over and pick up 10 pairs of cleats and take them home with him to his place and tape them up for me and bring them back. And it saves me a shit ton of time. So
I'm sure.
I've kind of pushed the apprentice off right now for the moment, but it's something I'd like to do eventually because my workload just gets so crazy, man, and it's stress. It's like crazy stress because I don't know how to tell people no. I need to learn to tell people no, but I don't know how to tell people no. That's my biggest, like a buddy of mine that's a great client.
Yeah.
And I've done probably 10 pairs of golf shoes for him last year.
That's cool. Some golf
and he
shoes.
sent a pair a couple weeks ago, and it was no big hurry. And then he texts me on this weekend. He's like, bro, if you can't do this, I understand, but I got to ask. I'm going to this big golf tournament in Vegas, and it's with like the people from the Wynn Hotel and yada, yada, yada. And he's like, if you can't do it, don't worry about it. And so he's like, I'll shoot you extra money. And I'm just like, okay, I'll do it. And I can actually overnighted them today.
Yeah.
So they'll get there tomorrow for him. But it's just like, an average person.
It's not ideal.
Yeah, but an average person would ask me, and I'd probably say yeah too because I don't know how to say no. It's just like, like my turnaround time's like 8 to 12 weeks.
Right.
Like, but and then right now you're probably closer to the 12 weekend with baseball because
with all the cleats and stuff.
Those guys, and it is what it is because I can't. These guys, they'll send me 5 pairs of cleats and say, all right, I need them last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's just like bam, 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 and you got to knock them out and then.
Send them right off.
Here comes the next.
The next load. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a balancing act for sure, man. But